Hello, it's Saturday, December 8th. It's looking like it's going to be an awesome day. So I'm here up on the bus. Kind of what do you call this thing? The sill or something? Normally I stand on the hood, but I don't know, I just felt like doing it this way today. So I'm wanting to address the crack that's in this thing. It's like you can barely see it there, but it's freaking cracked, man. So I guess it's from this thing oil canning or something, bending back and forth a jillion times, you know. And right now it's so hot I can't even leave my hand on it because of the sun heating up that black paint. So I'm not even sure I can do this right now. As hot as it is, the epoxy might kick off too quick. Yeah, we'll give it a try. So guess what I'll do is, geez, I hate this situation. If I knew those cracks were in there, instead of putting these two pieces, this one and the one on the other side, I would have just fashioned one piece of metal across the whole thing and put it underneath these big screw heads, and it'd have fixed the whole shebang. But I don't have a piece of metal big enough to go over this whole thing. And I would have to remove these, which are really bonded on there well now. So I think my idea that I've had for a while now is to prep this area down by grinding. The crack is up just above this little recess right here. Yeah, I wonder if those are little cracks right there. I think those are cracks. So if I grind this down right at the just below this little bend in the middle here, on the inside of the bus is rigid. It's what these screws are going into. So there's not going to be any movement below this. So if I figure if I grind this down to there, not touch the screws, I can put a fiberglass with epoxy resin patch on this. I hate doing that, but it's pretty much all I can do. I'll go all the way across, and then I need to do something on the inside to stop this. Yeah, I don't know if those are scratches or cracks. When I grind it, they'll show up. Yeah, I mean, I'd even like to weld it if I could, but on the inside of this, there's looks like epoxy they use to affix this is right behind it. So if I try to put a weld bead, it'll be melting that. And of course this is going to get hot here. A MIG welder would probably do a pretty good job on it. Yeah, I'll just do the fiberglass. Thing is, you know, with that, if there's movement there, it might pop the fiberglass off. It's not going to stick that great. I mean, if I use epoxy resin, it'll be much better than polyester resin. But so yeah, we're gonna give that a shot. So here's what I've decided to do. I decided against filling in that area with a crack using fiberglass. It never did sit well with me. There's too much going on here with this oil canning business, and I think it would just pop loose. I don't feel comfortable that I can get a good bond. So I decided to put a piece of sheet metal across this area, which would have been great if I knew about this crack ahead of time. I could have just made this one piece all the way across. But I realized, hey, it doesn't really matter if it has a seam here. I think I'm getting really good bond with that new Gorilla adhesive. So I've got a piece of hard paper on here, card paper, whatever you call it, and I'm making a template for the piece of sheet metal. I decided to go up equal height with this screw and more or less an equal distance from the screw to the edge, which that I think is right about there. I just eyeballed that. And the same on the other side. It's 1/8 of an inch difference, but you can't tell. And so right now what I've got done is I put the paper on here at the marks that I set on both sides. I've already cut this side off. I've used my finger to depress so I can sight where all the holes are. And then I came back with a Sharpie and put a little dot. So I'll be able to use my center punch through that paper on the sheet metal and put my marks where all the holes are. And the last step I got to do now is I need to cut off this edge, and then I'll be ready. I guess I could trim that little thing. When I cut the sheet metal, I'm going to go a little bit, just a hair larger than I need to, and I'll come back and finish it off to make sure it's a good fit. And so once this is in place, all these screws will hold down this edge. I'll be bonded down with the Gorilla adhesive across here. I'll put a little bit in this void here, and I'll have a line of screws across the top that will match these, and a screw here and a screw over there. And hey, you know what? It's a bus. All right, so let me get back at it. I'm gonna at least have my template cut today. I bought the sheet metal. It's right there. It's 18 gauge, so it'll be easy to work with, and it's the same thickness as this stuff, so it'll mate up nicely. So I'm gonna have to get in there and degrease that thing. It's pretty dirty. Put my paper on it, and I'll start making some transfers. If I could get the sheet metal cut out tonight, I'll be very happy. What time we got? It looks like 20 minutes to 4. That can't be right. I did leave work a little early today, but I can't believe it's that early. It must be 20 minutes to 5. I don't know. So that's what we got going on with that. The other thing we got going on, that's the door from the compartment on the other side of the bus, which has got a lot of rust on it. Not happy with it. It never looked right since I had the bus. So I've been reaching out to some fabricators to see if they could make me boxes for this side of the bus out of aluminum. I can't show you from up here, but that's the deal. It's going to cost a fortune, but it'll look great. All right, I'll get back. Okay, we're in the shop, and I taped the paper on to the sheet metal, kept the straight edge along the straight edge of the metal, and this is where I noticed that what I've got on the bus is not square. so I left myself space to trim this. I took my Sharpie, I used my center punch on all the dots up against this cast iron table here, so I had a good back, got nice center punch marks. Then I used a Sharpie, trace out the edge. So, look at there, that's what she looks like. That's great, huh? So now, we're going to have to give this a cut, and this is going to be a major pain. This is not, it's a curve, and we're going to have to first, I guess what we'll do, I'll probably just cut this straight off, and then I'll probably do one straight cut that's comes very close to this at the widest point, and then I'll come back and gradually come up to the line, sneak up to the line, and hopefully the Sharpie will hold up to the heat of the carborundum blade. You know, I might test that, see how hot I can get this metal. You know what I could probably do? Maybe I could put a scratch on it. That'd be kind of nice. Well, we'll come up with something. But anyway, we're well on our way to having our piece of sheet metal to repair the crack along there. Gosh, it's a beautiful day. Alright, so we're getting ready. So I marked all the points, and you can see the little scratch I put on there. I scribed a line, and I divided out equally the spaces. I was shooting for 3 inches, and I got 3 inches right on the button. That's the same spacing we have on these. I did all that work in the shop. Then I center punched all the marks, punched it with the hole puncher. It's a little bit smaller than I need. I'm going to be drilling to 1/8 of an inch with my brand new rigid drill. So what we did is we put all the screws in to make sure we're exactly in place, because some of them are a little wallered out, and you know, there's a little give and take on each of them. So now we're going to drill through with the 1/8 inch bit, which is the bit I need in the bus for the sheet metal screw to catch. I'll drill all these holes. Then I'm going to remove this sheet, take it back in the shop, drill them out to a larger size that the screw fits through easily. Then we're going to prep. This is getting hot, so maybe I don't know what I'll do. I might move the bus and stick it in the shade so this can cool off. We don't want the glue to set too quickly. We'll prep by sanding down the metal, the back side of this with some coarse 80 grit, so that the adhesive has got something good to bond into all the way around the perimeter. Then we'll scuff up the paint here. This stuff is adhered well. I think, yeah, that's, maybe it ain't adhered well. So we'll give this a scuff with the sandpaper just to make sure it is adhered well. Maybe I'll take it down to the metal. We'll see how that goes. Then we're going to stick that puppy on, and we're going to call this piece finished. We're going to move on to the next thing. Here's what it looks like before the cleanup. I made sure I got the adhesive underneath all the screw heads, and this is tightened with the drill. Let's give me the extra little whammy by hand here so I can feel it. Alright, so I'll come back when this is clean.